I get asked this question a lot, and know this, man. It was different yesterday to how it is today, and it will be different tomorrow compared to what it is today. I know what that means. The point is, today it's the middle of October, and when somebody said, Simon, who are your favorite 10 WWE wrestlers right now? These are the first 10 that came to my head. So I deliberately put less thought into it, because I wanted it to be an instinctive thing. You're gonna get mad. Prepare yourself. Let's go. Then number 10 is Nia Jax. That's right. I think Nia Jax is doing great work right now. And ever since she has been brought back in 2023, not only has she improved as a wrestler, but she has just understood who she is when she's in the ring. Now, Nia Jax is never going to do anything outside of her wheelhouse, but I think that is a huge positive because it just means you know what you're going to get when you see Nia Jax. She's going to be a powerhouse. She's going to hit you with the most devastating move, really, in all of sports entertainment, the Annihilator. And she will do some funny quips on the microphone. And I think sometimes just understanding what you're good at and then making sure you do that really, really well is the secret sauce of pro wrestling. That's what Paul Heyman used to do in ECW. You hide the weaknesses and you push the strengths, and all of a sudden you feel like a bigger star on TV. So maybe a small part of this is just enjoying somebody growing and developing as a performer, and I think right now she feels more comfortable than ever. But I also think her matches have improved, and you just know the WWE must be into her because she's been put in some major positions throughout 2024, including being Rhea Ripley's opponent when we went to Australia. Was that last year? I don't think so. This year has gone so darn quickly. And of course, she was involved with everything with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley again and Tiffany Stratton, which has been an enjoyable storyline. So I don't think she's ever going to get a 5-star match, 7.25 in the Tokyo Dome. But I do know when she's on screen, I enjoy her promos, they make me laugh. Her relationship with Tiffany Stratton so far, I think, has been very, very entertaining. And her matches are just solid. Even that one at Bad Blood, right? I was talking about this in the line the other day with Bayley. I was worried after the fact because everyone's going, oh my gosh, it's such a botch fest. So have I watched a different show? I know the Hurricane Rana went a bit wiggly-biggly, but I really enjoyed that because they felt like they were having fun, and that gave me permission to have fun too. So I wanted this list to be a little bit different. I'm throwing in Nia Jax. Number 9 is Bron Breakker. I just think he's brilliant, and he probably could have been way higher up this list. But again, I wanted to do it as the names came to my mind and what I felt good about. He's only going to continue to improve, and he's still so young in the business, and he already gets it because he's got those Steiner genes. And it's actually what I think he said it on Raw recently. I think The Undertaker said it too in one of his podcasts. He's kind of already better than Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner in many ways, and he's only going to continue to improve on that well. He can talk. He feels legitimate. He's a super-duper whooper athlete, and by the time you see this, I think he will be the Intercontinental Champion again, and he's probably going to hold that belt for a long old time. He will main event WrestleMania. He will be a world champion, and I just want to see him on my screen, and I just want to see him whoop ass. He has that magical thing that only some dudes do have. It's like you can do whatever you want, and I'm buying in 100%. That's all I got to say about it too. I enjoy it when he's on my television screen, and long may this continue. And that probably ties into number 8 as well. These may be interchangeable. Jey Uso, because Jey Uso is very similar, but I just love Jey Uso, and I want to hang out with Jey Uso, and I really, really would like to be Jey Uso's friend. There is this idea, or this talk, or conversation, whatever you want to put it, online where people go, he's not a very good singles wrestler. I have never thought that once, because wrestling sometimes is more about wrestling. Now, I think his wrestling is very good. I'm not saying anything otherwise. But he makes me want him to win, as I can't talk anymore. Like, no matter who he's facing, which is why I think the pop was so big when he won the Intercontinental Championship, because no one dared to believe, even though they wanted to. But I guess he can get sympathy. He comes across as a wonderful babyface, and you just believe in him, and you want to buy into everything that he does. And I also think this ties into the whole journey, hate that word, that he's been on. Because he was a tag team wrestling for 14 years. He then became the crown jewel, terrible choice of words, in the bloodline. He's the one that left. He came to Raw thanks to Cody Rhodes. And then he wins the IC title to basically cement his whole career. He must be in his late 30s now. He's been around so long. But he can have a totally different career on the back end, even though, of course, he will eventually rejoin up with the bloodline. May have already done that by the time you see this for everything at Survivor Series 2024. So Jey Uso, to me, is just one of those guys where the Uso hits, everyone goes crazy, and I want to be part of that, and I want to support him. And again, I just want to be like, Jey, you can do it. And I also think when he does re-team up with the bloodline, it will be the biggest pop, him and Sami Zayn, because of the relationship he has with people like that, because he just comes across like a dude. I love Jey Uso. He's the best. Number 7 was an odd one. but it is Carmelo Hayes. Now, I didn't even know that this was a thing. Like, I enjoyed his work in NXT, but I wouldn't say it was one of my, well, yeah, he was up there, but it wasn't one of my super duper favorites. But I think he has done such a good job on SmackDown, and he's kind of done it all chilled out. Like the little barbs to Andrade, the promo he's been cutting, he held his own with LA Knight, both in the ring and on the microphone. And because we've stuck with him, even though he has lost, I think as I'm talking to you, him and Andrade are 3 for 3, so they're about to finish their best of 7 series that was never official. But he's got to the point now where I'm like, I think he should be the United States champion. I think we should go all the way with him and try and establish him and cement him as a proper star that has an amazing future because he's just been doing good work. Now, I'm sure everything he has done with Andrade has helped with that. And Andrade isn't on this list, and he probably should be, but again, I just went with it. But he is a guy who has massively benefited from the reduced roster size on SmackDown because we have focused on him every single week. We have allowed him to talk every single week. So even if you didn't watch NXT, you know what this dude is about, and you know that he's an arrogant a-hole, but he can also back it up because he is so good in the ring. I think it's just confidence. I think he just walks out there and it's like, I belong to be here. This isn't anyone doing me a favor. I put the time in and I have arrived as a WWE superstar, and he truly has. And he's a great advert for the NXT system as well. If he had just come off the streets, it's a weird thing to say, but like if he had just come from the indie scene and just been thrown on SmackDown, I don't think he would have had the, let's use all the 2024 words, aura that he does do now. And I'm super duper excited to see what he can achieve, because there was a time in WWE where I think he would have been held down on SmackDown, but not now. So this is just a case of doing great work, and now me wanting to get to next week and say, what are you going to do this week, Carmelo? How are you going to top yourself? And so far he has. So good work, Carmelo Hayes. I've also thrown Roman Reigns in there at number 6. I mean, it's pointless. He could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The dude is just the man. The dude is just the best. I mean, someone said to me the other day, Simon, is he a babyface now just because he lost at WrestleMania? I'm like, well, yeah, he kind of is. But the story is more nuanced than that, right? We have basically made him a babyface because his enemy are the biggest dickheads ever. Like the Bloodline 2.0, we wanted someone to come back and teach them a lesson. And Roman Reigns hasn't turned on a dime. He hasn't come out wearing like blue trunks and be like, oh, I love you guys. He's the same dude. I mean, he has a bit more fun with Jey Uso. There's a more playful side to him. But it's just the best storyline ever. And Roman Reigns has taken all the nonsense he went through in what? 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's like 5 years. And the previous 4 years, I suppose coming up to 5, he has just done all-time work as far as I'm concerned. He comes out, he feels like the biggest star ever. He's kind of used whatever power he has to pass it on to Cody. Cody had it anyway, of course he did. But they have benefited from being in the same space as each other. So move him around wherever you want on this list. Roman Reigns is so important to that company, and it's such a shame we had to wait so long before he went on his heel run. He should have been the tribal chief back in 2017, 18, whenever he beat The Undertaker and he got booed on that Raw for hours and hours. That's when we should have pulled the trigger. We did do it, but you can't hold talent down. And again, Roman Reigns is a future Hall of Famer in all Hall of Fames, not just the WWE one, and I pretty much love him too. Number 5 is Randy Orton, or Reddy Orton. As the autocorrect has gone down onto my list. And what really put this over the top for me, and I already knew that he'd had this transformation, is when he took on Javon Evans on NXT, and they screwed up the super RKO that they tried. He picked him up, he RKO him. What a professional, man. Didn't even miss a beat. But he's got that smile, and he's got that father attitude to him. And he looked at Javon and says, don't worry, dude, it doesn't matter. The old Randy would not have done that. But he just comes across like the elder statesman, like the locker room leader, like the legend that's already there, that's going to carry on forever and ever and ever. He's just the best. And he's probably one of the most understated all-time guys ever. Like I say, cool as a cucumber, can do whatever you want. He had that match with Gunther at Bash at Berlin, which was so slow-paced, but you never would have known it, because it was just sell, sell, sell. Oh no, Randy's hurt his back again. I don't know what he can't do. And listen, I'm not saying that you haven't picked up on this. I'm just talking about it from my vantage point. As someone that wrestles as well, you do see him do these little things like, holy crap, how are you so good? So he's just brilliant. And I think we're on extra time with Randy Orton because, of course, he once said he didn't think he was going to come back because of all the injuries. So getting to see him now work with all these people you never thought, and he's going to turn heel soon on Cody Rhodes, and that's going to be fantastic as well. It just feels like a megastar every time he comes to the ring, and he's over like Rover, and he's sort of controlling the roster without actually being actively aware that he is doing it. He's the new Undertaker, for lack of a better word. I think he's a leader. I think he's inspirational. I think he's motivational. And now it sounds like I'm just totally infatuated around Orton, which is kind of true. But he is someone that I always want to see what he's going to do, be it promos or character work or matches, because he feels completely different, even though what he's doing is actually a lot more basic than what other people are doing. But because he does it in an expert way, you wouldn't actually be able to do that, so it's not basic at all. Thumbs up for Randy. Number 4 is Rhea Ripley, who I don't even think has hit her ceiling yet. I think she just re-signed a brand new contract with WWE, probably for all the money, and that's more than deserved. 2025, I think it's going to be a massive year for her. She will win her Women's Championship back from Liv Morgan. And then we should push her hard in whatever we're going to do at the Royal Rumble. She should be in a showcase WrestleMania match. And then we should just try to make her... I mean, she's already one of the biggest stars in the company. But again, I think there's so much more you can do with her. She's just awesome. And she's just cool. And she hits a demographic that wrestling always wants to hit, which is quite young. And she's TikTok cool, right? Which is the worst thing I've ever said, and somebody should punch me right in the face. But there is some criticism. Oh man, Rhea Ripley is booked too strong. Are you kidding me? You ever watch what Stone Cold Steve Austin used to do? I did not mind it when it was on the SmackDown after Bad Blood, and Rhea Ripley came out and she whipped Liv Morgan's ass, she whipped Dominic's ass, and she whipped Raquel Rodriguez's ass, even though she just re-debuted. She jumped a man. I didn't have a problem with this at all, and I think one of the reasons Rhea Ripley gets these mega pops is because she is treated like an absolute warrior. You can't mess with her. If she all of a sudden started feuding with the guys, I think some people, me included, would be totally cool with it because she has that presence, and it's the way that she carries herself. So I don't think we should do anything to try and cut the legs off Rhea Ripley. I think sometimes you sit down in Rhea Ripley programs and go, how do we make this benefit her so she can continue to climb up this ladder? I think she's brilliant. I think she's excellent. I think she is going to become probably one of the biggest female stars that WWE ever has. I think she'll get to Becky Lynch levels, and you could maybe even argue she's there already. I'm a huge fan. I think she's bloody brilliant. Obviously, that's what she says. And number 3 is CM Punk. You just can't deny the guy. He's an anomaly. I was listening to him on he does loads of interviews. I was listening to him the other day. He's such a compelling character. I want to hear his stories. I want to hear what he's going to say. And he is a pro wrestler's wrestler, right? Everything he did with Drew was proper old school, but I felt it. And I thought that they meant it, right? So I was able to buy in. I love the stuff with the beads. I understand why it didn't hit for some people, but the fact they even tried was awesome. And that Hell in a Cell Bad Blood match is going to be in the conversation for Match of the Year. It probably is WWE's Match of the Year. And even overall, when we start looking at all promotions, I think it should be in the conversation. And that's because CM Punk sees professional wrestling in a certain way. He's very inspired by like the legends of the past, as is Drew McIntyre. I'm not taking anything away from him. And Drew is not on this list, which makes me an absolute a-hole. But it's because he's off TV at the moment. That's the issue when I wrote this damn thing. And I just listened to an interview with CM Punk. But I realized, I know he has all the AEW baggage, and he has all the WWE baggage from his first run, but it's on your television screen. You want to know what he's going to say. You want to know who he's going to feud with, and you want to see how his matches are going to go. Once again, I'm going to continue to use this word. He is an anomaly, but people love him. He sells a ton of merchandise. He is a super duper whooper star. And if we're putting Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes in that 1A block, I think CM Punk is either alongside them, or right behind them. He is so damn close. He exists within this ether all of his own, and I can't think of many other wrestlers that did do that. Surprisingly or unsurprisingly, he was massively inspired by Roddy Piper, which is a guy who kind of did. He operates on his own level, and you can't follow that because it's just the way his brain works. So I think CM Punk is going to be feuding with Gunther by the time that you see this. I need that desperately. I want to see him feud with Randy Orton. I want to see him feud with Cody Rhodes. I want to get back to the Seth Rollins stuff. I want to see him do it with everybody, and you just know that he's going to have a different take. And people go, oh, he's injury prone. That's wrestling, man. Wrestling is a super duper dangerous sport, and these things can happen. So I just hope that we continue onwards. I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. I would like to leave that in the past, given that we are fans. Just think he's one of a kind. Number 2 is Cody Rhodes. Now, everybody on the internet, especially ex-wrestlers, a lot of them legends, are like, oh, I can't wait for Cody Rhodes to turn heel. I want Cody Rhodes to turn heel. Cody Rhodes is the best white meat babyface that WWE has in years. Why are we desperate to turn him? He comes across like a lovely man. He's a man that I want to succeed. When he won the title at WrestleMania 40, I had tears coming out of my seeing devices, and I just want this to continue. I wanted to feud with Roman Reigns some more. I wanted to feud with The Rock. I wanted to feud with CM Punk, as we just talked about a bunch of other guys. I did want him to feud with CM Punk. I did want him to feud with Gunther, but not that stupid Saudi Arabia show. That's a different conversation, and we have already talked about. He's just the best. And maybe one day we can turn him heel, and I'd be totally cool with that as well, because he's a great bad guy. But at the moment, when you have this John Cena effect, don't flush that down the toilet. You don't want to get rid of that. I would say it's once in a generational thing, but it's not, because Cody Rhodes has come relatively soon after John Cena. So I just think he's a lovely man. I just think he's awesome. And I think the way he talks is very, very genuine. And that makes him super duper easy to get behind. And that's all it is. And I root for him in his matches. And I want him to, like I said, I want him to do well. And just the way he holds himself when he cuts promos and he thanks fans. I miss this kind of babyface, man. Because this kind of babyface for a long old time, we weren't able to get over in wrestling. Because people are like, oh man, it's so sad. What a loser. He's not a loser. He's a winner, damn it. And I'm going to be the first one to tell him he would have been number one on this list. But man, I can't help it. I'm just infatuated with Kevin Owens. And that's because every single thing he does is brilliant. Even this sort of weird viral heel turn we did when he beat up Cody in front of his bus, I thought about it. I was like, only Kevin Owens could do that. And before all this, say 6 months beforehand, or even weeks to be completely honest with you, he's doing all the breaking wrestling tropes. He's talking about people interrupting when he hasn't said his name. He's talking about watching the show and I saw you do this and now you're doing that. I said this on the podcast recently, Simon's Pro Wrestling Show. Please do check it out. He's kind of the wrestler I would like to be, which is mad. Because you could be a Cody Rhodes, you could be a Roman Reigns, or you could be a CM Punk, or you could be a Gunther. So now I'll be Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens always seems like he's having fun. He's also brilliant in the ring. He's like the ultimate utility player. And as I am talking to you, obviously he is going to feud with Cody Rhodes. I want him to win the WWE Championship, even though he's a heel, and even though it made me sad when they did fall out and they have a fight. I think he's so underrated. I think he's so, not underutilized, because they utilize him a lot, but I really hope before he retires or hangs them up, whatever he does, he has another run as the world champion. That may not be in the cards for him, but when he does retire and he does move on to other things, he should be remembered as one of the best wrestlers ever. And people get so mad when I say that. Do not care. He's one of my modern day GOATs. He ticks every single box from what I want from professional wrestling. And right now, it does kind of feel like he's being used more than he has done in years. He's probably going to be in a few main events, and the opportunity is there for him to become the champion, right? It's closer than it was a few weeks ago, so I'm going to advocate for that. So it's true. Right now, if you told me there's only one segment you can watch on WWE TV every single week, I would say, well, you tell me where Kevin Owens is. I'm going to tune in. So there you go. I'll wake up tomorrow and I would have forgotten somebody else and I'll be mad, but it's nice to have these kind of reactive discussions. Make sure you drop me a comment below and let me know who your favorite 10 WWE wrestlers are right now. And yes, we're going to do the AEW list very soon too. Like the video, share the video and subscribe. Click the video on the screen to hear me talking about wrestling. Otherwise, it's grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon, get 10% off. Patreon.com/Simon316. A Go Fitness. Go there. Work out at home and use my code Simon20. Simon316 on all social media. Simon Miller on Cameo. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. And Pro Wrestling Tees/Simon Miller to get my stupid wrestling shirts. That's it. Let's go regret lists. Don't bang the table. Goodbye.